Hi, everybody. We are on, whoops. Where did that go? It says lesson 4 here, but I don't think it's lesson 4. We're on page 10 right now. Come on. Wait a second. As we're running out of time, we are skipping some lessons that are, not quite as important as others. So on my paper, it says lesson 4, but on yours, it's not. We're on page 10 right now. And what we're going to do is solve systems. Remember, systems are more than one equation. And we're going to use something called substitution. So you can use a graph or a table when the problem says solve it either graphically or if the directions say just solve it. But if they say algebraically, unfortunately, that's your bet. So here's the reasoning behind this. It says equals may always be substituted for equals. So I'm just going to make a little example up here. If I have y equals 2, and then I have 6 plus y equals 8, well, I can take that 2 and plug it in there because y equals 2. So we have our steps here off to the side. I'm going to read it and then I'm going to do the problem. The directions say solve the following system of equations. So we have y equals 3x and y equals x plus 4. What you have to notice, besides the fact that there's two equations, there's a y equals and another y equals. That's really important. If you don't have that, then you're going to have to either do harder algebra or find a different method. So step 1 says set the two values, the y equals equal to each other. So basically I'm going to take, this 3x and set it equal to this guy, equals 1x plus 4. And you could switch it around. You could put the 1x plus 4 and then that equals 3x. That doesn't matter. Step 2, we have to solve for x. Now let's see if I can move that. Nope. I wanted to make it bigger. It wasn't happy with me. This might cause some strife, but it's algebra, so we're going to do it. Here's our equal to bar. Remember, when you solve, first of all, there's no exponents. So that thing called quadratic formula, we're not even doing. So when you have just regular x's or some other letter, your goal is to get the x's on one side and the numbers on the other. I usually like to get the x's on the left side. It's my preference. I just like to be consistent. So I have to take this 1x and move it to the other side. So I'm going to minus it. Whoops. What happens is that goes away. And now we can combine those. Those are like terms. 3x minus 1x, and you get 2x. Bring down whatever's left on your right-hand side. And now to get x by itself, we have to do the opposite of what it's saying. So in this line, it says 2 times x equals 4. Well, the opposite of times is divide. So whatever you do on one side of the equals, you do on the other side. And we end up with x equals 2. So that's the first part of our answer, x equals 2. But this is a system. There's 2 letters. In this case, we have an x and a y. And that's what it says here. The original equations, started with an x and a y, so you need to find the value of y as well. Sorry. Substitute the value you found. So we're going to take this x right here and substitute the value found for x into either equation. So let's go back up to the top. Our originals are right here. You're going to pick one. It doesn't matter which one you pick. Pick the easier one. I'm going to go for the top one, y equals 3x. And I'm going to write it down here. Y equals 3 times x. Now, I'm going to substitute my answer, x equals 2, that's going to go right there. Sorry about my dogs. Y equals 3. 3x means 3 times x. So 3 times 2. Y equals 6. So what we've done is we've just solved our system. X equals 2 and y equals 6. Our answer. So you could write your answer in two different ways. You could say x equals 2, y equals 6. Or you can write this as a point, just like we did when we graphed. Whoops. Well, that's not the way. The point 2, 6. So either one of these is fine. So what I would do, since you're in class and you have your graphing calculators, put the original problem in. Whoops. I don't know what happened there. Oh boy. Put that in, check, and see if your answers match. Now let me see if it'll let me scroll up without destroying everything. Okay, here's your original problem right up here. Put those into y1 and into y2 and see if they crisscross at the point that we found. See if they crisscross at the point 2, 6. Now we're going to go to the next page and practice. So we're going to do 2a together. 2b, I'll get you started and you'll finish it. And then you will finish the rest. Let me just make sure. Actually, we'll do 2a and 2c. That one always causes people trouble. I don't know why. Alrighty, so we're solving our system using algebra. We have y equals 2x plus 5 and y equals negative 3x. This is a minus 10. So I'm going to set these two things equal to each other. 2x plus 5 equals negative 3x minus 10. There's our equal to bar. So I'm going to bring my x's to the left-hand side of the equation and then the other stuff to the right-hand side. So first thing I'm going to do is add 3x because that's the opposite of minus or negative plus 3x. So that cancels out. Now write down what you've got. 2x and 3x is 5x. We're going to bring down our 5 plus 5 equals, now we have this minus 10. When you just have a minus 10, you say that negative 10. So I have 5 times x plus 5 equals negative 10. Now I'm going to subtract 5 on both sides. That goes away. 5x. Negative 10, you would write this in your calculator. Use the negative button. Negative 10, subtract 5, and you get negative 15. Last step, divide by 5, and you get x equals negative 3. Eesh, that's a lot of work. We found the x. Now we have to find the y. Let me erase these. So in class, anybody want a dog? In class, I would say, which one do you want to use? Top one or bottom one? Either one works. I'm going to use the top one because there's no minus signs and because I want to. So here we go. I'm going to write down what equation I'm using. That way people can follow my work. So this negative 3 right here is going to go in for x. Y equals 2 times negative 3 plus 5. So the y is already by itself. That's pretty good. Just evaluate this. You can put that in your calculator. You can do it in your head. You get negative 6 plus 5, which is negative 1. So we have two answers. We have x equals negative 3 and our y equals negative 1. Now the last thing we're going to do here is letter C, because letter C always throws people off. Okay, so letter C, we have y equals x and y equals negative x plus 2. Well, let's look at what we got. We know we have a y equals and a y equals. So I'm going to put this equals that. So I'm going to say x equals negative x plus 2. And just because there's not a lot to go with, I'm going to put invisible ones. Okay, so 1x equals negative 1x plus 2. Here's our equal to bar. So before you freak out and call Miss Brennan over and say, come here, come here, come here, think about what you got to do. X is on the left side, everything else on the right-hand side. So I'm going to take this minus 1x right here and move it over. Add 1x and add 1x. So that cancels out. 1x plus 1x is 2x. So 2 times x equals 2. Solve for x, divide both sides by 2, and you get x equals 1. So now we have to solve for our other letter. Remember, you can pick any equation you want to pick. The second one is a little more difficult, but the first one is almost too simple. This one messes people up. So for the sake of not being messed up, I'm going to choose the second one. Y equals negative x plus 2. Look, I write the equation. Now I'm going to take my 1 and put it in there for x. Y equals negative 1 plus 2. Okay, so evaluate that. Put that in your calculator. Negative 1 plus 2, you get 1. And there's your answer. So you guys are going to do the other 2 questions on this page. And then I believe on page 12, you're going to do letter G. Check back here and see how you did.